Alright, let's get one thing straight. When you hear the word mutant, your brain probably jumps straight to a bald guy in a wheelchair, a school for gifted youngsters, a whole lot of spandex, and yeah, the X-Men are a thing. A big, dramatic time-traveling, constantly dying and coming back thing. But here's the kicker. Not every mutant gets the welcome to the X-Men, hope you survive the experience letter. Some of them look at the drama, the Sentinel attacks, the questionable fashion choices of the 90s and say, you know what? I think I'll pass. These aren't your B-listers or the characters who just washed the Blackbird. Some of the heaviest hitters in the Marvel Universe, folks with powers that could make reality itself wet the bed, decided to hang their capes elsewhere. Long before Logan was the best at what he does, and way before Chuck Xavier started collecting teenagers, there was Namor, the Submariner, Marvel's first mutant. This guy was a mutant before it was cool. He's got the pointy ears, the ankle wings, and an ego so massive it has its own gravitational pull. When the X-Men came knocking, you think he joined? Please. So instead of playing nice at the mansion, he went off and formed a little supergroup you might have heard of, the Defenders. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Cyclops? The guy whose personality is 90% angst and 10% being wrong about Jean Grey? But time travel shenanigans comics. A younger, less jaded version of him got yanked into the present. This teenage Scott saw the mess his future self had made and decided, yeah, no thanks. So what does a time-displaced teenage mutant leader do? He joins the Champions. They joined up with Earth's mightiest heroes, hung out with cosmic surfers, or even started their own super-powered high school clubs. By doing this, they didn't just get a new team jacket, they completely changed how the world saw mutants. Suddenly, mutants weren't just this isolated, feared group hiding in a mansion in Westchester. So buckle up, because we're about to dive into the stories of 10 mutants who broke the mold. These are the trailblazers, the rebels, and the ones who proved that the X gene is just the beginning of their story, not the whole book. They made their mark not as X-Men, but as Avengers, Defenders, Champions, and just straight-up legends in their own right. And trust me, some of their stories are way more interesting than another trip to the Savage Land. Let's do this. Speaking of the Champions, let's talk about the heart and soul of that team, Kamala Khan. For the longest time, everyone, including Kamala herself, thought she was an Inhuman. She got her powers from a Terrigen mist cloud. She idolized Captain Marvel. It all seemed to add up. She became a symbol for a new generation, co-founding the Champions to prove that young heroes could make a difference on their own terms without the oversight of the old guard. But then came the twist. After a brief and tragic dirt nap, it happens to the best of us, she came back. And with her resurrection came a revelation. She wasn't just an Inhuman. Before Canada's most famous export was me and maple syrup, I guess, it was Alpha Flight. And front and center on that team were the mutant twins, Jean-Paul Beaubier, Jean-Marie Beaubier, better known as North Star and Aurora. These two weren't graduates of Xavier's. They were government-sponsored heroes, Canada's answer to the Avengers. North Star, blessed with super speed and an attitude that could curdle milk, was the hot-headed protector of his sister. He was also, famously, one of the first openly gay superheroes in mainstream comics, a true trailblazer. Aurora was his literal other half. She could generate brilliant, blinding light and also fly, but her powers were often tied to her brother's proximity and her own fractured psyche. Bobby Drake, the Iceman, one of the original 5 X-Men. He was the class clown, the jokester, who could create ice slides out of thin air. You'd think a guy like that would be an X-Man for life, right? Bobby got a little tired of the same old mutant melodrama. He didn't just sit around waiting for the professor to call. He packed his bags and headed for the West Coast to help form the Champions of Los Angeles. Yeah, another Champions team? It was the 70s. The name was popular. This team was eclectic. Iceman, Angel, Black Widow, a Russian spy, Hercules, a Greek god, Ghost Rider, a weird, wonderful mix. It gave Bobby a chance to be a hero on his own terms. He wasn't just the young one anymore. Later, he joined the Defenders. Swapping stories with Valkyrie and Doctor Strange, these outside experiences were crucial. They helped him grow from a wisecracking kid into a powerhouse Omega-level mutant who realized he was more than one of Xavier's first students. These stories prove that Marvel's mutants aren't limited to Xavier's school. From leading teams to redefining what it means to be a hero, they've shown they can stand tall anywhere in the Marvel Universe. Roberto da Costa, also known as Sunspot, started out as a textbook New Mutant. Rich, hot-headed, able to absorb and channel solar energy. A core New Mutant for years. But Bobby, another Bobby, wasn't content to stay a student. He had ambition, big ambition. So what did he do? He graduated, not just from the school, from the whole X-Men orbit. He took his solar-powered fists. He took his massive fortune. He joined the Avengers. He wasn't a benchwarmer. He became a key player in a universe-altering event. Still not enough. After the Avengers, he bought AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics. He kicked out the villains. He rebranded it as Avengers Idea Mechanics. He ran an Avengers-sanctioned team. He used villain tech for heroic ends, from student to Avenger to CEO. That's a glow-up. Ororo Munroe is royalty. She's a goddess, a queen, one of the most powerful and respected leaders the X-Men have ever had. She led the team through some of its darkest and most triumphant moments. Now you could be forgiven for thinking her story begins and ends with the X-Men. But a goddess doesn't limit herself to just one pantheon. When she was married to the King of Wakanda, Black Panther, the world's premier superhero couple needed a team. For a time, they found a home with the Fantastic Four. That's right. Storm and Black Panther filled in for Sue Richards. They filled in for Reed Richards, joining Human Torch and The Thing. She wasn't just a guest star, she was a core member, bringing her elemental fury and her regal command to a whole new arena. And that's not all. She also served a distinguished tenure as an Avenger, proving her leadership and power were assets to any team in the Marvel Universe. Warren Worthington III, Angel, another one of the founding 5 X-Men. He was the pretty boy with the big wings and honestly an even bigger trust fund. Like his buddy Iceman, Warren's story didn't stay confined to Westchester. He often bankrolled the X-Men's adventures away from home. When he and Bobby decided to strike out on their own, Warren's money funded the Champions of Los Angeles. His journey outside the X-Men didn't stop there. After a particularly traumatic experience that turned him into the metallic-winged Archangel, he eventually found his way back to the light. He later joined a new incarnation of the Defenders, handpicked by Doctor Strange as secret weapons. Warren's career is a look at a hero trying to find his place. He was an X-Man, a champion, a defender, a horseman of apocalypse. He proved you can leave the nest, get horribly mutated, and still come back a hero, often footing the bill for everyone else's heroics. Storm showed everyone that while her heart may be with her fellow mutants, her strength belongs to the world. These power players redefined what it means to be a mutant hero on the global stage. Dr. Hank McCoy is the brains and the heart of the original X-Men, the brilliant, fun-loving, acrobatic beast. But after a scientific experiment to cure his mutation went horribly wrong, he was left permanently covered in blue fur. Feeling like an outcast even among outcasts, Hank did something radical. He left the X-Men. And honestly, what better way to prove you're more than just a monster than by joining the most famous publicly adored superhero team on the planet? Hank became an Avenger. And not just any Avenger, a beloved one. His jovial personality, super genius intellect, bouncing, brawling fighting style made him a core member of the team for years. "Oh my stars and garters" became his catchphrase. He was their scientist, their medic, their conscience. And finally, we come to the one, the only, the guy who's in more comic books than the staples, Wolverine. He's the most famous X-Man of all time, the quintessential loner who found a family. But let's be real, Logan has serious commitment issues. Staying on just one team was never going to be enough for him. The man gets around. He became a card-carrying member of the Avengers, joining Captain America's new Avengers lineup, bringing his claws-first attitude to Earth's mightiest heroes. This wasn't just a side gig. He was a full-time Avenger and an X-Man, often pulling double duty. This dual allegiance led to some serious drama, most notably during the whole Avengers vs. X-Men fiasco, where he was forced to choose sides and ended up fighting his own mutant family, including Cyclops. Wolverine proved that you could be the ultimate X-Man and the ultimate Avenger at the same time, redefining what it meant to be a team player by, paradoxically, being on every team. He's the best there is at what he does, And apparently, what he does is join supergroups. So there you have it, 10 mutants who colored outside the lines of Xavier's Big Yellow X. From the depths of Atlantis with Namor to the streets of Jersey City with Miss Marvel, these heroes have shown that the mutant experience is anything but monolithic. It's not just about fighting for survival in a world that hates and fears you. It's also about being an Avenger, a Defender, a Champion, a King, or just a guy who buys an evil science organization and turns it into a force for good. These heroes didn't just find new teams, they forged new identities. They stepped out of the shadow of the X-Mansion and into the global spotlight, forcing the world to see mutants not as a single scary monolith, but as individuals. They are scientists, gods, millionaires, and teenagers, each with their own story to tell. They've been to space with the Fantastic Four, fought alongside gods with the Avengers, and protected the world from magical threats with the Defenders. They have fundamentally redefined what it means to be a mutant in the Marvel Universe. And that's the real takeaway here. The X gene might be where their story starts, but it's their choices, their alliances, and their incredible, often bizarre adventures that truly define them. So next time someone says mutant, don't just think of the X-Men. Think of the rich, diverse, and downright awesome tapestry of heroes who wear their genes with pride, no matter what letter is on their uniform. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to see if I can convince Nick Fury to let me start the X-Force Avengers. It's got a ring to it.